natural, organic, plant-based. We hear those words and immediately assume something is safe. But poison ivy is natural. Hemlock is natural. Even water can be dangerous if you drink too much of it. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest misconceptions in herbal medicine, that natural automatically means harmless, because the goal isn't to be afraid of herbs. The goal is to respect them. Good herbalists don't just know what herbs can do, they know when they should not be used. Welcome back to Sage Advice, where we cut through the confusion of modern wellness and reconnect with the wisdom that has supported health for generations. Each week, we'll explore herbal medicine, natural health, and the science behind how your body heals, adapts, and thrives. I'm Karen Mallinger, the Herb Gal, and together we'll uncover simple, practical ways to support your health naturally without the overwhelm. Today, we're having what I think is one of the most important conversations I've had on this podcast. Herbal medicine is incredibly safe compared to many pharmaceuticals, but safe doesn't mean without responsibility. Every year I see social media posts encouraging people to take large amounts of herbs because, quote, you can't overdose on plants, unquote. I'm sorry, but that's simply not true. Herbs are medicine. Gentle medicine most of the time, but medicine nonetheless. The difference between a knowledgeable herbalist and someone who simply collects herbs isn't how many plants they know. It's understanding when to use them, how much to use, and when to leave them alone. Herbs are powerful because they work. One of the strangest arguments I hear is, it's only an herb. Actually, that's exactly why it deserves respect. Plants manufacture hundreds of active compounds. These compounds affect our nervous, digestive, immune, and hormonal systems, as well as our liver, kidney, circulation, and even our brain chemistry. If herbs didn't work, people wouldn't have relied on them for thousands of years. Modern medicine actually discovered many drugs by studying the medicinal plants. So if you're taking herbs because you believe they work, then you also have to acknowledge they have the power to cause unwanted effects when used incorrectly. That is not something to fear. It's something to understand. More isn't always better. We live in a culture that believes if one capsule helps, three must be better. That's rarely true in herbal medicine. Many herbs have what's called a therapeutic range. Too little may not help. Too much can create completely different effects. Chamomile is a perfect example. 1 cup may help you relax. 5 or 6 extremely concentrated cups might actually upset your stomach. And if you have an allergy to ragweed, it could put you into anaphylactic shock. Licorice root is another. It can be wonderful for certain digestive issues, but taken daily in large amounts over long periods, it can raise your blood pressure in susceptible people. But it's not just herbs. Even healthy foods work this way. Too much water, too much salt, too much vitamin A, anything in excess can cause issues. Remember, it's all about balance. Your body is never going to respond positively to excess of anything. Drug and herb interactions. This is one area I wish more people would ask questions. Herbs and medications can interact. Sometimes they work beautifully together. Sometimes they amplify one another. And sometimes they cancel each other out. St. John's wort is probably the classic example. It is often used for mild mood support, but it also speeds up certain liver enzymes that metabolize medications. That means it can reduce the effectiveness of birth control pills, some antidepressants, transplant medications, HIV meds, and others. Garlic, ginger, ginkgo, and turmeric can all have mild blood thinning effects. That doesn't mean they're dangerous. It simply means someone taking prescription anticoagulants should talk with their herbalist before taking large supplemental doses. Please don't ask your doctor because they don't study herbs, so they really don't know the answer to those questions. I never ask a client, "What herb do you want?" I always ask, "What medications are you taking?" Because that's responsible herbalism. Any herbalist who doesn't ask this should be avoided at all costs. One herb does not fit everyone. Another myth is that herbs affect everyone exactly the same way. They don't. You've all heard it. "Oh, my best friend is taking turmeric for pain and it's doing wonders." Your age, your weight, your liver function, pregnancy, any existing medical conditions, your personal energetics and constitution, even your genetics can all influence how your body responds to herbs. Peppermint tea is wonderful for many digestive complaints, but someone with significant acid reflux may actually feel worse because peppermint relaxes the lower esophageal sphincter. The herb didn't fail, it simply wasn't the right herb for that individual. Good herbalists treat people, not just symptoms. Pregnancy, children, the elderly, and chronic illness. These groups deserve extra caution. Pregnancy changes physiology dramatically. Some herbs stimulate uterine contractions. Others haven't been studied well enough to confidently recommend them during pregnancy. Children, they're not just tiny adults. Their bodies process herbs totally differently, and often they need much smaller doses. My elderly clients may be on multiple medications. Plus, they usually have frail constitutions and their health is compromised in some cases. So, mild and minimal is the key, as their systems can easily become overwhelmed even with just herbs. People with liver disease, kidney disease, autoimmune conditions, or multiple medications need more individualized guidance. This isn't about saying never, it's about saying, let's be thoughtful. Quality matters. Not every bottle on the shelf contains what it claims. Herbal supplements aren't all created equally. Ask yourself, who made it? Was it tested? Does the company identify the plant species? Do they test for contaminants? Was it stored properly? Even the best herb won't help much if it's old, poorly processed, or contaminated. Buying quality herbs is part of practicing safe herbalism. That's why for my clients, I make their capsules for them. That way, we know exactly what's in them and the quality. Listen to your body. One of the greatest teachers is your own body. Pay attention. Did that tea make you feel energized, sleepy, nauseated? Did your rash improve? Did your digestion worsen? Even though we don't use symptoms to find solutions, your body does give feedback. And one of the ways it does that is through your symptoms. They are the body's way of giving us additional information. So anytime we feel relief of symptoms, we have to remember that something we are doing is contributing to that. So don't ignore it. Respect it. Pay attention to it. Keeping a simple journal can be incredibly helpful when trying a new herb. Sometimes it's the smallest observations that teach us the most. Herbalism is a partnership. It's not magic. I think one of the healthiest attitudes we can have is recognizing that herbs aren't miracle cures. They're partners. They support the body's remarkable ability to heal. If anybody puts you on a list of different herbs and tells you you're going to need to take them for the rest of your life, run, do not walk to the other direction. Herbal medicine is supplemental, and it helps the body return to peak efficiency. Once it gets there, they're no longer necessary. But they're only one piece of the puzzle, and you know that from the past weeks. Sleep matters, nutrition matters, movement matters, stress management matters, community manage matters, sunshine matters. No herb can consistently overcome a lifestyle that's working against your health. Herbal medicine shines brightest when it's part of a healthy foundation. The takeaway today isn't that herbs are dangerous or that you should fear them. Far from it. I believe herbal medicine is one of the safest and most effective forms of healthcare available when it's used wisely. Respect is not the same as fear. When we respect herbs, we choose the right plant, the right dose, the right preparation, the right timing, and sometimes we also know when not to use one. That's what responsible herbalists do, not because we're afraid of plants, but because we understand them. We've spent today talking about using herbs wisely, not fearfully, but respectfully, because natural medicine works best when it's guided by knowledge, not assumptions. But next week, I want to step back and ask a much bigger question. Why are we so impatient with healing in the first place? Why do we keep looking for the one pill, the one herb, the one supplement, or the one diet that promises to change everything overnight? Where did this obsession with quick fixes come from? And what is it costing our health? We'll talk about burnout, the pressure to do everything faster, the influence of social media, and why real healing almost always happens more slowly than we'd like, but far more deeply than we expect. I think it may change the way you look at wellness forever. Remember, your body is working for you every single day. Treat it with kindness, nourish it well, and until then, let's get better.